Today, we're bringing you two branches of the French royal family whose relationships are not exactly incompatible, but are so tangled that they leave people completely confused. First, let's look at a simple relationship chart. France once had a famous king named Louis XIV. This king had a younger brother called Philippe I, Duke of Orleans. Philippe's wife was Henrietta Anne of England, and Henrietta later fell in love with Louis XIV. The relationships further down the chart become more abstract. Philippe had a male lover named Philippe de Lorraine. Lorraine also had a lover named Catherine. Catherine's lover, in turn, was Louis XIV. Meanwhile, the lover of Louis XIV, and also the lover of Henrietta, was the Count of Gramont, Catherine's brother. And Gramont was also Philippe's lover. As if that weren't enough, Philippe's lover and Lorraine's lover may both have been Gramont. From Gramont's perspective, I am my lover's lover's lover. From Henrietta's perspective, my husband's lover is also my lover. How are we supposed to understand relationships like this? Is it reasonable? Is it socially acceptable? Strangely enough, yes, it was. To understand this seemingly absurd yet oddly reasonable situation, we must introduce a key figure, Louis XIII. In early modern Europe, nobles treated marriage as a political tool, while lovers were considered true love. Being married did not mean being in love, and being in love did not mean getting married. For nobles, saying, "I don't have a lover," implied poverty, unattractiveness, or even questionable masculinity. Thus, even divorced nobles were expected to maintain lovers to prove their social and sexual standing. Louis XIII was an exception. He had little interest in women. This raised a serious issue. If the king was uninterested in the queen, where would the heir come from? Fortunately, Louis XIII had a brother, Gaston, Duke of Orleans. Unfortunately, Gaston was famously unreliable. Not stupid, but not particularly smart either. As Louis XIII sought to centralize power and weaken the nobility, the nobles rallied around Gaston to oppose him. Gaston repeatedly joined rebellions without considering that he was first in line to the throne. In 1626, he plotted rebellion with the Count of Chalais. The plot failed, and Chalais was executed. In 1632, he rebelled again with Henry II of Montmorency. Montmorency was executed. In 1634, he fled to Lorraine and married a foreign princess. Lorraine was soon occupied, and its duke lost his lands. Because Gaston was such a liability, Louis XIII, despite his disinterest, forced himself to resume relations with the queen. The result was the birth of Louis XIV. Even after Louis XIV took the throne, Gaston continued rebelling. In 1648, during the chaos in Paris, Gaston repeatedly switched sides between the nobles and the crown. Eventually, he trusted no one, not the royal family, not the nobility, not the army, not the church. The only remaining option, mistresses. Louis XIV institutionalized this system. Calling himself the Sun King, he built the Palace of Versailles and forced nobles from across France to live there. Their lives became ritualized performances centered on the king. Louis XIV held 8 daily ceremonies, from waking up to going to bed. Courtiers literally watched the king rise and sleep. His extravagant clothing, wigs, heels, lace, stockings, numbered in the thousands. This served two purposes. First, to create authority by making the king the absolute center of attention. Second, to monitor and divide the nobility by confining them to Versailles. Louis XIV also used constant wars to strip regional nobles of power and consolidate authority under the crown. Mistresses became political intermediaries. Different mistresses represented different noble factions, allowing the king to balance power without direct involvement. Although mistresses had no official authority, their proximity to the king granted them immense influence. If a mistress became inconvenient, the king could abandon her instantly. A noble's mistress could become the king's mistress, and vice versa, tightening political bonds. Louis XIV officially recognized 3 chief mistresses and had over a dozen short-term ones. This achieved absolute centralization, at a cost. Nobles and officials would do anything to please the king or those close to him, severely damaging the royal image. 2 major scandals followed. First, the affair of Madame de Pontespan. In 1677, a poisoning scandal led investigators to La Voisin, a witch selling poisons and love potions. Pontespan was one of her clients. Louis XIV discovered he had been both poisoned and drugged. Second, the affair of Vermandois. Louis XIV's illegitimate son, Louis de Vermandois, was targeted by a secret society led by Philippe de Lorraine. The group included many high-ranking nobles, possibly even royal heirs. Louis XIV suppressed the investigation entirely. After these scandals, and with France nearly bankrupt from wars and Versailles, Louis XIV abandoned his indulgent lifestyle. The financial crisis continued under Louis XV. Louis XVI lacked the ability to solve it. Thus, the Bourbon dynasty ultimately collapsed. That's all for today. See you next time.